Hi guys, Ray here from City Fan TV. Sun is shining in Manchester. Sun was eventually shining up in Newcastle, even though it was dark. Last night, City beat Newcastle, got to say every time, by 3-2. And I'm joined by the man of the sunny disposition, Bernard Deneen from the Citizen Channel. Hey, how you feeling, mate?
Well, a lot better than I was feeling most of the game. It was awful to watch at times. Certainly that first half was awful. But that's what I mean. I think it's the first time I've said it this season. That's why we're champions, because we pull it out when we need to.
There's a lot of stuff we can dissect from that game. I was tempted to call this video "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly," and for once, we weren't going to be the ugly. That was going to be Kyle Walker, okay, and some of our.
He's even taking out our own players now. I mean, what's he doing?
Kyle Walker had one of the worst games you could imagine.
Yeah, he didn't assist for the first time. He didn't assist. He had an awful game.
Yeah, he did 3 assists, didn't he? Because he was the culprit, I think, for both their goals. He took our keeper out. I think Edison will be back in a couple of weeks, but he took our keeper out. And at the time I will talk about each individual thing in a minute. When he did that cross, I was shouting, "No, don't do it!" I was shaking my head. I was banging my fist. I was so angry that he was crossing that ball because he can't cross for tough. He can't even cross the road.
It was only the magic of Bernardo that turned it into a goal. Really, it was behind him.
Yeah. No, I had somebody, and I don't know the veracity of this because I don't read the tittle tattle in the papers, but apparently Mr. Walker he's got 2 kids on the way with 2 different women. One was his estranged missus, and he's what do you keep it clean? What do you and he's a bit of fluff. He's a bit on the side.
Ladies, what first attracted you to the multimillionaire Kyle Walker? That's what we have to ask.
so someone was saying, I read this on Twitter, that is Kyle Walker's, ultra professional. He's bound to score. I think he's done his scoring already, boys. We've seen with his wayward shooting this season and yesterday, he's already done his scoring about a few months back. So there'll be no more of that from. Hey, thumb up there. There's no more scoring from Kyle Walker, maybe. But so I don't think his mind was totally on the game the way he played. Let's focus.
It wasn't for that second goal. I don't know what he was doing.
He was dawdling. No, come on. Keep those jokes to yourself. No. He was making sure he took his time on that second goal that they scored. So let's start with the good, because people accuse us unfairly, I believe, of being miserable old gits and looking at the negative. But there's been a lot of some negatives this season. Let's focus on some good stuff. We played some cracking football yesterday. No question about that, is there?
No, I mean, I thought Newcastle did very, very well. Their plan was simple. Play the percentages on offside. See how many they can get through. If they get caught, and they don't. And it worked. I mean, we know how. It's not rocket science. We know Pep's side is. We have a high line. And certain teams, I mean, some teams not took advantage of that recently. Perhaps we've not been of the quality, but teams like Newcastle,
with the players they've got,
Tottenham, always take advantage. It's not hard. It's not rocket science, and we look suspect, and we have done all season. But some teams have not had the talent to take advantage, of course. But I thought we played very, very well. I thought Newcastle played well the first half, and then obviously when you win, keeping that momentum, keeping that physicality up, because they had to work bloody hard first, didn't they? They had to put it in, and you just knew they'd tire, and they certainly did. They had a couple of chances in the second half, but we just kept at it. We kept at it without KDB, and then we obviously kept at it when we had the maestro coming on. So whether we would have won otherwise, I'm not too sure. But there's a lot of good about what we did, even without KDB. We're just talking about the good. We'll go on to the other bits, but there was a lot of good in what we did later.
All right, we I don't think we can avoid this topic. It's got to be top of the list. How good a 20 minutes did KDB? What a show! What a little mini marvel of a performance he put in yesterday.
Super sub.
Yeah.
Do we just keep him like that for the rest of the season? Why not? When teams are tiring, it might be a tight game, but bring Kev on for the last 30 minutes. We'll win this league at a canter, mate. Don't see any problem whatsoever.
But if we're honest, when he came on, I think they were scared.
Yeah,
you could see them panicking. They were tired.
It's up to all City fans to get on social media and bang the KDB drum and make them work. Klopp's already worried, so why not let's worry everyone else?
I said this yesterday. I said it before. I said before the game, I said we have to win because we need to make other teams start to fear us. KDB's back in their heads after yesterday's performance. Okay, it was ridiculously effective. In 20 minutes, a goal, an assist, some other good control, creative play. But that might be what's the right word? It might not be reflective of what he's going to do for the rest of the season. He just had a good cameo there.
Well, this is it. We don't want to jinx it, do we? But I mean, we thought he'd ease himself back in, and he's looking absolutely outstanding already.
Yeah. Well, he said after the game he couldn't do that for a full 90. I think he would struggle to do it for a 60. But he said for 20, 30 minutes he can give everything full whack. So I think in 2 weeks' time, I think he's ready to start.
Get sun on his back in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. Personally, for me, I wouldn't start him against. I don't think I'd start him against Spurs.
No.
Give him another 30 minutes cameo again. I like that idea. And then Burnley, we don't even need to beat Burnley. And in fact, I was saying yesterday, I would rather have all our stars playing against Spurs, which we would concede is a much tougher proposition down in London than Burnley 3 or 4 days later. So I'm not busting the gut for KDB to be back, but I think in 2 weeks' time, I think he's ready to start. If you can put that level of performance in for 30 minutes, he's done it twice now. I don't see why he can't do 60 minutes, and that's all. Hopefully, you'd need from KDB. So yeah, he was fantastic. As I said, the panic from Newcastle was palpable. They were scared, and so they should be, because what a fantastic goal! There were 5 fantastic goals. I mean, early in the second half, I had my little thumbnail up ready. I'd already written it out, slagging Pep off. No, I would never do such a thing. And then when it was 2-2, I changed it and said 4 stunning goals, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously we won it in injury time.
Did you settle for a draw for that game at some stage yesterday? I would at a certain stage. I was happy. I would have been happy with the draw.
When we were losing 2-1 towards the end of the first half, and they were pretty getting dominant and taking over.
I think they could have gone 3-1, couldn't they? I think Ortega made a very smart save at 2-1. Which they could have made it 3-1. It would have been a hard battle to get back to 3-3 then.
I think it's tough to come back. So at that point, you're thinking, but at 2, but I'd said it's a game we need to win, because yes, 4 points isn't insurmountable. The difference, if we would draw the game, but you've got 18 games. But I said we need to be on that, have that momentum. We've won 6 games on the bounce. We need that steamroller kind of approach. We need to win a lot of games on the bounce now. I think we've got a chance. I'm not sure about the Spurs game, but Burnley, we've got a few chances in the league anyway of getting on a roll, and we need to. So, although at times you think, yeah, maybe we take a draw, especially when you're losing and look like you could get, pumped out of sight. But we needed a win, and when KDB was on, you knew anything could happen. He just pulled the strings. So we talked about some of the good there. We'll go through each goal and we'll talk about bits and pieces. But again, I'm going to be negative here, but the disturbing part for me was they sliced us open time and time again. I think you probably would have got all 11 starters. I think you did, didn't you? Did you get all 11? Yeah. Very good. I mean, you didn't tell me that Edison would be coming off, but, I'll forgive you there, Nostradamus. But again, Pep went with the fullbacks to play wide, Walker to give you the width, and Gvardiol. Now, as I said yesterday, Walker, he's got the pace to be able to do something on the width. He can't cross a toffee, okay? But Gvardiol, it's a waste of time, because You know, with
Some
Gvardiol,
people say he was outstanding. I don't know. I must have watched a different game.
all Gvardiol does when he's out wide, pushed really up, far forward, is
He
pass the
gets
ball
in
back.
Doku's way for a start. Doku had to keep coming inside. I mean, I don't know what's the point. What Doku on the wing, not flipping coming inside.
At one point, you had Foden, Alvarez, Doku, and Bernardo in the middle, and Walker and Gvardiol like wide. And it's like, yes, these guys can do some good passing, but that's not the place for Doku, because when he lost the ball, it's dangerous.
He lost it too many. He lost it far too many times for Pep to be happy with that. That formation.
And I've said this many times. Why Pep hadn't been playing Foden there when he was younger, because he said he loses the ball too much. He takes too much risk. Out wide, you've got more protection. It's usually, if you're further forward, it's a longer way to get to your goal, and you've got protection from the other players. If you're doing it in midfield like Doku was, you lose the ball, you've got problems. So I didn't like that. And as I said, Gvardiol, all he can do is pass it backwards or sideways. That's it. Doku, you see with Doku, he can take you on the outside. He can take you on the inside. He can run across the pitch. He's got a reasonable pass on him. He can dribble. He can do everything. So he can tangle you up and tie you up in knots. Gvardiol does nothing. He's not going to surprise you. He's like Jack. Generally, they're not going to surprise you. And it makes life easier. I thought Trippier would be ripped to pieces, or whoever was playing right back yesterday would be ripped to pieces. And they weren't, because Doku wasn't allowed to go out there. So that disappoints me. And then it has a knock-on effect, because Kyle Walker, he's thinking about legging it up. He's not focusing on where he should be. And what really annoyed me when they scored that first goal, really annoyed me, we were winning. Why do we need to take such big risk? Yes, it's nice to score a second and third goal, and the way we've been playing recently, you sometimes think we need it. But why do we need to take such risks? Why was Kyle Walker trying to step up? And too often, Gvardiol was getting beaten for pace. Diaz was getting beaten for pace. Aki's not got the pace of people like Anthony Gordon. Hasn't got the pace of people like Almiron, Isaac. In that first half, they had 5 chances to score. They scored. Actually, the goals they scored, were better, much more difficult than the ones they missed. That we'll start at the beginning. There was that offside goal. I mean, it wasn't by much, I don't think. And I understand the linesman didn't put his flag up, which because it's tight. He only does what he's instructed to do. And Ederson got injured. Do you think, I mean, he was down for 5 minutes. Do you think he should have come off there and then?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a picture today. I don't know how correct it is. A sort of hole in his leg that I saw.
No.
Obviously, from a stud, I don't know what it. Obviously, Kyle Walker was mainly involved, wasn't he? But yeah, I don't understand. I mean, as the guys have got great skill, our physios. I mean, what we call them. We call them physios, the trainers. I don't know what we call them these days. But that old magic sponge wasn't sorting that hole in his knee out or whatever it was. And he had to be off. Surely he had to be off. It's just ridiculous.
Well, the thing is, it was Ederson who wanted to play on. But he was
down to Ederson. Up to Ederson. It's like if you're not fully fit, I'll play. Well, no, you're not fully fit. You're not playing. It doesn't matter unless it's the last game of the season.
Yeah, but I understand sometimes your adrenaline
like that. You just don't.
Your adrenaline, your desire overpower your team ethic, and he was desperate to play, but he was down for so long. He was in obvious discomfort for so long. There was a problem when he stood up. They put a bandage on, so I don't know if because when I first looked at it, I thought, wow, his legs massive, his knees massive. That's partly the bandage. But you could, as far as I could see on telly, his knee was swollen.
Yeah.
So there was immediate inflammation. They put some spray on or whatever, but he was hobbling. He didn't look comfortable. And you thought, I can't see him running that off. And the first, whoever passed him that ball was horrendous. But actually he dawdled on it.
Yeah.
Took too long. And then I thought he was going to give a penalty because he tried to grab the player and pull him down. We got away with this by the skin of our teeth.
Got away with that one. Yeah.
I'll take him, Arena. Come on. They had their chances. I mean, that was not by much.
Very early doors. He hesitated and got blocked, and then they should have really done better with that one. And that was very quickly after he came on, which I don't blame Ortega. It's hard, isn't it? You expect to sit on the bench for a match, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into a sort of atmospheric game like that. You know, St James was bouncing at that point in time, early doors. So it was a hell of a task for Ortega to come on and take it on, but he got away with it again, fortunately.
Let's look at. I'm going to just open my notes here. Let's look at the goal then. The first goal for City was great, wasn't it? It was great. I mean, talk us through that first goal then. Do you remember what happened?
It was great. Yeah. Well, who gave it Walker? Who fed Walker? I don't know who fed Walker.
It was Doku. Doku had got lucky. He'd got a couple of ricochets in midfield, which was, that's how he was getting past players yesterday, which I didn't like. And then he passed it out to Walker. No Dan Burn, because they'd all moved across. Walker had oceans of space. And I'm thinking, he's the wrong man to be on the ball. You've got all that space and time to cross it, and Walker's on the ball.
Yeah.
But he actually put a decent cross in.
Yeah. I mean, he did of course, Walker just is what Walker's doing. He tries to put it into that area of what is it? What's the word they use? Where it's
corridor of uncertainty.
That's it. And he tried, and he did. He put it into there. But the thing is, it was behind Bernardo, so he had to come up with a little bit something clever, and that's what he did. He just sort of little back flick, which we've seen before. Other players have done it. We've seen it over the years, of course. But you've got to have a tremendous ability and talent to get it on target, which he did. Keeper nowhere. Had no catting else. He had a pretty good game. The keeper, I thought. But absolutely no chance. Just very clever, brilliant by Bernardo. All credit to Walker. He got into that position. He put the cross in. It wasn't the greatest cross, but hey, we score from it. It's an assist, and
he's got the assist.
He did one good thing yesterday, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, before that we'd had.
Walker had that shot. He'd shot from about 30 yards again. Walker, and it hit the corner flag. I remember that.
It's not a shot, mate. It's a shit. He has a shit.
But they'd had another good chance. I was talking about that Ortega thing, but they had that one where, was it Isaac? And again, Diaz seemed to let him in front of him.
Yeah.
He just seemed to say, like he did against Huddersfield the other week, when he sort of said, guy, he sort of said it to Isaac. He sort of gave him the space.
And he was
obviously did enough to put him off, but it trundled wide. But I don't know what Diaz is doing at the moment.
I'll be honest, a player of Isaac's quality, I think he should be scoring there, or at least hitting the target. We were lucky. Gvardiol got mullered. Gvardiol got absolutely mullered on the wing. He was Almiron legged it, and Gvardiol was nowhere. And so this is a risk with pushing these guys up, and you've not got the pace. Aki and Diaz haven't got the pace. I mean, Isaac is nippy, but I didn't think he would destroy.
No, I think Shearer said he's got no pace, so you know that against our lot.
Yeah, so that was really. I mean, we had Bernardo had a good shot or a good chance.
Yeah, he sort of couldn't quite get over it, could he? Sort of like a volley that just always rising. Yeah.
I've got me Walker lame shot. Doku with that pass. Foden had a good chance, I think, but he did a wild shot with his right foot, sliced it wide, and then a few minutes later on 28 minutes. Okay, I've got this. We had plenty of chances. This is the only redeeming feature of this season for me. We're up there, challenging, and we create a lot of chances. So on 28 minutes, Foden had that chance.
I think Bernardo had another cracker where he hit it onto the bar. The keeper got it onto the bar post.
This is all together on 28 minutes. Foden had that shot which went wide. From the resulting goal kick,
we're dominating that. There's the odd. I said that them odd hiccups, but really we should. We were creating lots of chances.
We were cruising. But so Foden had that shot that went wide. From the resulting goal kick, they cocked it up at the back. They give it away, and I can't remember who passed it into Bernardo, but it was a bouncing ball, and he volleyed it. It was actually a really decent shot. It was hard to control. I think he was just aiming on target. It was a bit too close to the keeper. He got his hands to it, had enough power, and he just pushed it onto the crossbar. So very, very unlucky there. And then straight after that, they give the ball to Gvardiol. And I don't know what he was doing in the middle of the pitch, but he took 3 or 4 men on. And I'm thinking, is that really Gvardiol? He took these 3 or 4 men. He gets a chance to shoot in front of goal, and he skies it. and his head in his hands. That was all in the space of about 60 seconds. But in my notes, I said City are still jittery at the back. And 5 minutes later, it was this Newcastle squad. You've got to give the credit to Isaac, because when he got the ball, I didn't think he was going to score. Because Kyle Walker's there, and he's on the edge of the box. Walker's got the pace, but he didn't seem to have it against Isaac. I was a bit surprised.
No, I don't know. Perhaps he thought he'd give him a start and he was fast enough. I don't know.
I actually think Walker likes doing that. Walker jogs around. He wants to show people his pace, and sometimes it doesn't work. I think in this one, I give Walker a little bit of leeway because Anthony Gordon came on his outside, and there was no one.
Yeah, he had too many. He had to had him in his vision. He didn't know quite what to do, and
I always say this. I'll still say this. Okay, you've got to deal with the man with the ball. You can't focus on the other guy. You leave that to your goalkeeper or somebody else, or say I couldn't do anything. You've got to focus on the guy who's got a great chance. Out of 10, how do you rate Isaac's goal?
Oh, superbly taken. We've seen, it's just one of those things. The keeper's got no chance. It's just sublime. Of course, I think all 5 goals had their own were sort of 9 out of 10s to me. Every single one yesterday.
Yeah. So
perhaps Bob might have been 10 out of 10.
Sorry?
Perhaps Bob's might have been 10 out of 10, but the others were definitely 9 out of 10.
To Bob's in a minute. So we've got undone. We've got undone at the back. They've been getting through a few times. You've conceded a goal. Like you say, Newcastle, the Stadium St. James Park is now bouncing. The fans are, they're not shy at coming forward, those fans, at making noise. They were bubbling. They were bouncing. They were really having a good time because we'd given them moments for them to hold on to. And we're giving Newcastle the team. So the crowd were up for it. And then we go and do it again. Now, was it Diaz who tried to pass the ball and it got deflected, went to one of their players? They put Gordon through. And honestly, Walker is just lolling about. He isn't running.
Look over to the line, I think, or expecting some sort of offside. I'm not sure, but he was dawdling. That was the word. He was just. I think the commentators used a similar word. He looked across and then just. Oh right, I better speed up a little bit. I better try and get back now. But
he was lollygaggling.
You should be as a defender. You should be facing what's going on. I mean, Walker always seems to have his back to what's going on, and it works sometimes. I don't know.
The thing is, Gordon had a long way to run. Yeah. He was outside the box down the side, and if Walker had been busting a gut, he could have fouled him there. If that's what you want to do, as soon as he's in the box, Walker's backing off and not going to do anything. But when he was outside,
doesn't give any fouls, Walker, does he? Overall,
he gives a few.
No, I just don't remember him getting booked that often.
He might not get booked that often, but
I'm just saying that, in the sort of last man, well, not the last man, but obviously in that situation. I don't think he's a tactical fouler particularly.
But he should have been in that instance. He should have gone out to him quickly, and knowing what's just happened 2 or 3 minutes ago, he should have just bumped him and knocked him down.
He's an old dog, mate. You can't teach new tricks to old dogs. He just falls into the same pattern every time.
And Gordon, from where he was, the angle was even more acute than Isaac's. Gordon had more work to do. I mean, Isaac's a brilliant goal. I could not believe he scored from there.
No. Cracking goal, brilliant goal. I mean, it's just, you can't do anything about them. You just, as a team, yes, we could have done better. Walker certainly could have done better. But at the end of the day, when a striker, it doesn't matter who you're playing, whether it's a Sunday league. Occasionally a striker, obviously not as often as these quality strikers in the Premier League, but you can't do anything. You can't allow for stuff like that. You just got to say, great goal. Let's, we're 2-1 down. We'll have to, keep it calm now. Let's stay in the game.
How glad were you that when that halftime whistle came?
Yeah,
because I think they were.
I didn't want the extra 8 minutes or whatever it was. Of course, we knew we were going to get it, but I thought, no, let's get in at halftime 2-1, and you just rely on Pep to, and you've got a couple of guys on the bench who can turn the game. Newcastle haven't. I think we said that in the preview, haven't we? They're limited. They can't really change the game.
There's no one on the bench.
Yeah, their 11's their 11. There's not much off the bench they can do. So, it was a matter of getting in, as you said, at half-time, just 2-1 deficit.
Just looking at some of my notes, Doku, he was put through in the second half. He couldn't control it. Walker, after 49 minutes, He was put through out wide. And I've written, he can't really cross it, can he? So that first one in the first half was an aberration. And I've written Doku's playing like Grealish because he wasn't contributing enough. 69 minutes.
It was a very Grealish-like performance, but as I said, I think that's because he was stymied by the fact of bloody Gvardiol in the way.
Yeah. But I mean, there was one early in the second half when this is what really got me. Doku's in the middle. He puts it out to Gvardiol, who's free. Okay, and Gvardiol just slows it down and passes it sideways or backwards. And I'm thinking, if Gvardiol had passed that to Doku's in space. He doesn't even need skill to beat his man. He just uses pace. There's only one man. When Doku was out wide, there was two men on him. And I don't think he was not as sharp as we've seen him in the past. I mean, the next 2 weeks are going to be great because I think he'll get that sharpness back as he gets more fitness. But the Alvarez, after 69 minutes, he blasted over that. I think that should have been a goal. Should have been a goal.
You've got to be hitting the target with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then then KDB kick comes on for was it Alvarez?
I don't know his name. Is it Guamaresh? I don't know how you pronounce it. But that one where Rodri ended up fouling him, but some great blocking play from him there.
I mean, Newcastle did. You said already. Dubravka played well. They were very well organised. They knew what they had to do. They knew they were gutted but losing that game because they put so much into it and it nearly came off. Tactically, it nearly came off. One of the things that has been in my mind all season, it doesn't matter about the quality of the opposition. We leave every team in the game. We don't look streets ahead. Liverpool played Newcastle. They looked streets ahead. We don't look streets ahead when we're playing teams. And even though I think that's just the way we play. But one good thing for him yesterday, I think we were a bit quicker in the first half passing the ball. We had a bit more intent. But KDB comes on, does the business. Do you want to describe that goal and how difficult it was and how impossible it is for not just for us as mere mortals, but for other good players to have the vision and to see what Kevin De Bruyne saw.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, Ortega had made that great save before that. That was 67 minutes. I've got it down as where Isaac really opened his body up to score, and obviously Ortega made himself nice and big and managed to get a block on it. Yeah. Of course, KDB started with the free kick, wasn't it? I mean, that was one of the worst free kicks he's ever got to take. But
that's the one that Alvarez hit over.
Yeah, it's nice to see Alvarez not taking that one. I get a bit bored with Alvarez taking these free kicks because I know he had one good effort, but he just knew the keeper was going to save it.
After the game, Pep said he was not happy because KDB, his first touch, he didn't do anything with it.
Rubbish, yeah, absolutely. But before
we describe KDB's goal,
it was Rodri who laid it down for Kev.
I've got to say, before we describe KDB's goal, you've got to look at the pass from Rodri because he cut inside and he flicked it. Was it with the outside of his boot or whatever? Past three men. He took three men out of the game. And before we get to Rodri's goal, KDB's goal, there's another thing that was a theme throughout, especially that first half. In the space between midfield and defence, they were leaving us free a lot in that first half. Foden was getting the ball a lot on the half turn. Alvarez was getting it. Doku was getting it. There was always that pocket of space. And in the second half, that really hurt them because we had somebody who could hurt them in KDB.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so trouble with Kevin. You don't know when he's going to fire it, do you? You don't know when he's going to release that shot. And as a keeper, I don't think the keeper did anything wrong. He was positioned correctly. And the thing is, as well, when a ball comes through a player's legs, which I think it did, didn't it? Yeah. I'm not sure of the Newcastle guy, but you get that little split second where you can't judge where it's going. So the keeper's not unsighted, but he can't react. And I mean, Kevin, he just it was just sublime again. It was just placed into that far corner at pace. He didn't just tap it. But it's just the way he just leaps onto it. And Newcastle defenders were scared. You could see it. You didn't know quite what to do. As you said, that pocket there. The other guys like Foden weren't making the most of it. But Kevin knows how to do that. Just again, it's got to be a 9 out of 10. Just sublime into the corner. No chance of the Brovka, whatever it's called, the keeper, absolutely not a cat in hell's chance to get into it.
It's one of those where as soon as he's shot, you know it's a goal. If the goalie saves that, it's a world-class save. But as soon as he hits it, you knew it was going in. And then we kind of We were back on top. We were in control. We were dominant. I'm looking at notes. KDB
It
to
would have been
Rodri.
nice for that folding effort to go in, wouldn't it? But obviously the keeper managed to stumble back and get it, from about the halfway line. Foden had a goal, but
And then
I think that summed up Foden's day. It didn't quite work, I don't think.
I still think Foden had a good game. I'm not going to give him a 6 out of 10. I think overall he had a good game. Just that little bit of spark magic, that little bit of magic dust on top of I thought it was a good performance. He was in good positions, getting the ball on the half turn, driving forward. He was very, very dangerous. But
where did Foden move back then when KDB came on? Did he move position anywhere? Do you think?
I don't. To be honest, I wasn't tactically watching. I was emotionally watching at that point, thinking, once it was it was all emotion, not thinking.
Just be interested to see. Obviously, if we're playing them together. We've talked about Foden preferring to play in the middle.
I mean, right now, I'd have Rodri. We'll talk about Kovacic in a minute. Rodri, Kovacic. I'd have Foden with KDB.
Well, you think of the old days. You think of the number 8s and the number 10s inside forwards. So, Pep's already hinted that can be the way to go, having them playing as an 8 and a 10.
Yeah, we'll talk about this in a minute, but it's good. I'll mention it. We'll come back to it. It's going to be interesting when Haaland's back, KDB, Foden, Alvarez, who started every single league game this season, Doku, Bernardo. You got 7 players for 5 spots. If you're going to play someone alongside Rodri. If you're going to play Kovacic alongside Rodri. But let's talk about Oscar Bobby coming on after 82 minutes. Rodri had a chance, saved by. It was a good save, I think.
Yeah, that was a cracking save. That could have a lot of keepers. That would have beat him the way because Rodri took it nice and early. Got a nice sting on it. Got a nice pace on it. But a good save again by the keeper.
In my notes, lots of City
very
pressure.
very good.
Yeah, sorry. In my notes, I got lots of City pressure. Newcastle were hanging on at that stage.
Yeah,
I
don't think they were offering anything at all with the other end.
They were just hoping to get that. Were desperate for that final whistle. They've been on a terrible run, desperate for that final whistle, and then we go into injury time, and it's our turn. We've let goals in injury time, and we did it. Oscar Bob, Bernard. It was everything about that goal. Everything about that goal was just top draw. The KDB vision, and he said it after the game. I don't make that pass if Oscar Bob doesn't make that run. I base my pass on the run. And he made the run. Tell us what happened, man. Tell us what happened.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's just, I thought, I was thinking, surely that was offside. Surely Bob had wandered offside. But to time his run like that, for KDB to hit it, just as you say, just at the right time. You look at the still pictures of it and the distance between them. And it doesn't look, lots of KDB assists don't look possible, do they? They never do. Against Villa, there's a couple just don't look possible that is, in that 3-2 game at the end of the season. They don't look possible that he can do it, and yet he does it. But Bob, unbelievable skill. Unbelievable. Was it Trippier that was there? Yeah, he could have easily gone down as well. I think he got a little bit of contact. Yeah. I think there might have been a little bit of contact on the ball as well. So I'm not saying he got lucky. He controlled it superbly. Trippier couldn't do much about it. He left him for dead. Yeah. But the actual ease in which he moved it from his left boot to his right to score the goal, that was just cocky. That was just absolutely brilliant.
That's talent.
Stunning finish.
It was that quick. I didn't know what he'd done.
No. Little flick, little 1-2, a little cannon off, one left to his right. Yeah. And it was that. No one's commented on it. I'm sure that was it. The big guy tried to take his bloody head off.
Dan Burn.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. He looked a little bit deliberate, as though he did it deliberate to me. No one's commented because Bob's all right. He's fine, but I didn't like that. But sublime, absolutely stunning. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 all day along. That from the pass to the goal.
Yeah, because the other goals had different elements. Bernardo's goal was that impudent, impish flick, top skill. Isaac's goal, cracking shot from distance. Same with Anthony Gordon, who had a little bit more distance to cover. KDB shot, which was goal was exceptional. But Oscar Bob had his goal had so much, like you say, it had that pinpoint cross, that pass from KDB, the sublime control from Oscar Bob, the ability, the drive to not go down, the determination to not go for
He didn't
a
panic.
penalty.
He's just so calm. I mean,
And
you
the
know,
finish,
so calm.
fast feet. That was a 10 out of 10, like you say. It was brilliant. I know we've been on for ages, but it was a good win. So that's how we're in a good mood. Kovacic, how do you think he did? Kovacic and Rodri.
I thought Rodri was excellent. Not always. I think he lost his head a little bit, which is, I thought, just calm down, mate. You know, you've got previous for this. Do you never learn in the same way Walker's an old dog, not learning new tricks? Rodri's got to learn to calm down. Look, you got fouled. It wasn't picked up on. Then you did something stupid to get yourself booked, which, you know, I'm not too worried. I don't think he's any close to suspension or anything like that. But, you know, just calm down, mate, because then he was giving the verbal as well, you know, and it only takes the referee to book him again and he's off the pitch. So Rodri, apart from that, I thought Rodri was superb yesterday. I thought it was excellent. But his discipline needs looking at. Kovacic,
I thought he was all right.
I was saying he's looking like Gundo against Huddersfield. Yes, a lot of good stuff. But again, it's just he doesn't quite know what to do with that final ball for me. He doesn't know to hit that final pass or to shoot. He does a lot right, and then he's not quite in the mold of what he's supposed to do with it in certain circumstances, I don't think. But he played okay. I thought it was okay, but I just want a little bit more vision, perhaps, at the end.
The difference is Gundogan would regularly give you 7.5, 8, 8.5 out of 10. Kovacic has given you 6.5, 7, 7.5.
It's there, but he just lacks that final piece in the jigsaw for me. And it's early days, of course it is. So and he's not a young lad, is he? But he's still got plenty of time, and he's perhaps still not with the flow of it yet. I think I'm not too sure.
I think he looks better when we've got better players around him.
Yeah.
Okay. When he's required to be one of the main men, I don't think he's good enough yet. He's not settled enough, good enough yet. He's not fitted in. But when he's got KDB there, when you got Rodri there, when you got Doku, Foden, and Haaland,
he's not a prolific goal scorer from the past. So what he needs to do is to decide at certain points that he needs to find someone. He needs to be aware of who's around him a bit more than he perhaps is at the moment.
But I think when he's number, let's say, in your attacking options, number 6. Not the number 6, or your 6th most least required option. When you got KDB and Foden and Haaland, they're your 3 options. You got Doku, Rodri, and then Kovacic. He's number 6 in terms of creativity and having to deliver. Then I think he's okay. When he's number 3 or 4, then I think it's difficult. I think he had a decent game. I think he allowed Rodri to move forward a bit more, which I want. However you want to call the position, a double pivot. Sometimes Kovacic will go forward and Rod will drop back. So I think it gives us a little bit more flexibility, which I'm keen on. Who else? We've discussed most people. Alvarez didn't really get into the game.
But game where he's had them sort of games, but adding a goal or an assist, it helped him. But in this one,
he didn't. But the thing is, I looked at Alvarez's numbers yesterday, and I think if I'm right, he started every league game. So Pep's got that trust in him. He started every league game. This season he's played, I think it was 29 or 30 games, and he scored 13 goals. So it's a decent return. It's a decent return for somebody who's not playing all the minutes, who's not your out-and-out striker, who's not taking your penalties. It's one of those things. If he was our penalty taker for every game, if you give Haaland's penalties to Alvarez is sat there in 30 games with 17 or 18 goals. You're thinking, that's not bad, that. It's pretty good. In the Premier League, he'd be sat there with whatever, I don't know how many goals. I think he scored 6 out of 19, out of 20 in the Premier League. If he was sat there with 10 goals out of 20, you'd be taking that all day long. So the penalties do make a difference. They're helping Haaland and not him. And as I said, if you swap the numbers around, and if I say, well, Alvarez has got 11 goals in 20 games, I think you'd be 10 or 11. You'd be happy with that, because for someone who's not your main striker. In fact, you'd be really happy because you think if you can extend that over a season, you're getting 15, 18 goals. That's what in the past, that's what our top striker would get, 18 goals. We'd share them around. But if our second striker's getting 15, 16 goals a season, I think you'd be happy. So it's one of those. Pep's stuck with him all season long. I can't see him dropping him now. But it's this is the question.
It'll come to a crux where he will drop him, because obviously if Haaland returns, he's first on the droppable list.
But Pep's not dropped. Haaland played most this season, and he's not dropped Alvarez. Alvarez has started all games.
I'm just thinking now that other people like the Dokus and the Fodens and the KDBs, all that lot are back now. I mean, KDB's not been available all season, so that's another.
That's helped Alvarez. We'll discuss this. Obviously, we've got 2 week international 2 week break now, so we will be able to, our winter break. We will be able to discuss things like, how are we going to play? Because I'm hopeful, as we're going to start winding down this chat. I'm hopeful in 2 weeks' time, Akanji and John Stones and Haaland are our 3 injuries at the moment, and Edison. I think Edison will be fit. We won't know properly till today, or till tomorrow, I reckon, because they need to let that swelling go down and see what's what. I'm hopeful it's just a collision injury. It wasn't a ligament thing. It's just a knock and it's got inflamed. Give him a week, he'll be all right. So in 2 weeks' time. And having said that, Ortega might play.
Ortega will probably play against Spurs, whether Edison's fit anyway.
Yeah. So if Edison's on, if it's a bit worried, if they're a bit worried, Edison doesn't need to play against Spurs. He doesn't need to play against Burnley. Leave him out. That gives him bags of time. It gets you to about the 10th of February. It's almost a month. So it gives him a lot of time. So I think Edison will be ready. I think hopefully Stones and Akanji will be back as well. And Haaland. Okay. Now, this is something we will discuss at another time, because I think it's a good discussion, is who plays. But as I said, the bottom line is we played 20 games. We're 2 points behind Liverpool, same goal difference. I still am gutted about those games we drew, like the Palace game, Spurs game, Chelsea game, just those 3.
We're minus 10 now on the games of last season, so we've still got a lot of work to do.
But I'm not worried about that now.
I'm hoping, we can still go to places like Anfield and Tottenham, hopefully get results this time. Obviously, the other teams need to drop certain points, and why not? And we've started that roll, hopefully, and continuing it.
The good thing for me, it's in our hands.
Yeah.
So it's up to us. We can't blame anything or anybody. It's up to us. And hopefully, like you said at the top of the show, it's what champions do. It's what champions do. But Liverpool have done what champions do a few times this season. So it's what title contenders do. And the good thing is, even though we've stumbled through this season, even though we stumbled through games, we're still up there. We're still challenging. Players are coming back. And, we've been there and done it before. And, last question then. I mean, we've got the Spurs game coming up, the FA Cup and all that. I'm sure I've asked you this before, but if we've got 3 competitions we're still in this season, FA Cup, League, Champions League, which one do you want to win the most?
Well, we said it, I think the Premier League definitely, followed very closely by the Champions League. I just want the treble again, mate. I don't want to give it. I want to win it every year now. I don't want to give it up. I don't want to give it back. I don't want to give any of them back.
You've become entitled, mate. you might as well be Man United, small club like them. Entitlement. No, I agree. I think if we win the league, no one's ever done it before. If we win back-to-back Champions Leagues, it has been done before. Villa have won a European Cup twice.
Yeah, I think we do worry defensively. We've got to do something. I'm not sure what it is, but we've got to do something. Certainly in Europe, I think defensively we're looking a bit more rocky than we did last season.
We wouldn't get away with this
in Europe. I think we've got to be far cleverer somehow. I don't know how, but that's Pep's problem, not ours, is it?
Yeah. Well, you've got to remember the Newcastle still aren't at full strength. We've not beaten a lot of opposition. Everton, we beat them. Sheffield United, Urawa Red Diamonds. We beat Fluminense. This is our run. So it's not top level teams. And then Newcastle, who had lost, I think they've lost 8 out of the last 10 games or something. So they're not on a great run.
Newcastle aren't in a great run, but...
So, against... And we saw yesterday against better quality opposition how we got punished. Now, you give Real Madrid 6 or 7 chances like Newcastle had yesterday, I think they score more than 2 goals. And that might be enough to scupper us. So you've got to look at that. But hey, we've got 2 weeks to discuss all that stuff. So we will come back to it over the next 2 weeks on our winter break. Bernard, buddy, thank you so much. Sun's gone in a bit, and maybe that's our negative talk. But anyway, all right, it's gone in a bit. Thank you so much, guys. If you want to follow Bernard, he is at the Citizen channel. Just type in Bernard Dineen, Citizen channel, Manchester City, those kind of things, and you will find him on YouTube. Thanks very much for joining us, guys, and we'll see you around Blues.